However, not until DSM-3 in 1980 would infantile autism appear as a diagnosis that was separate from schizophrenia. So they used to call people with autism schizophrenics. Hey everyone, good afternoon. February 28th, 2024. Okay, I've done more research and I came across something called the Autism History Project. It goes through autism over the years. Okay, it's the Autism's Curious History and the Diagnostic and Standards Manual, the American Psychiatric Association's Oh, I forgot to push record. Hold on. Afternoon, I'm going over the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual for Mental Disorders. Autism's Curious History and the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic Bible, reveals how dramatically the diagnosis has evolved over the past half century or more. The term autism has become much more common in the DSM, replacing childhood schizophrenia and childhood psychosis. So this is what we have people self-diagnosing themselves with these days. The first edition of the DSM was in 1952. The word autism appeared only once in connection with schizophrenic reactions in young children, much like what was meant when the term was first coined in 1911 by Eugene Bleuler, the same person who introduced schizophrenia in the first DSM. It was only because of their immaturity and plasticity that children presented a different clinical picture than older individuals with severe mental illness. In 1968, DSM-2, autistic, atypical, and withdrawn behavior was still associated with the presentation of schizophrenia in childhood. The fact that it could also result in mental retardation was added. However, not until DSM-3 in 1980 would infantile autism appear as a diagnosis that was separate from schizophrenia. So they used to call people with autism schizophrenics. 6 diagnostic criteria were required, including appearance before 30 months of age, gross distortions or deficits in language development, and peculiar, sometimes rigid attachments to objects. The DSM-4 in 1987 changed the title of the diagnosis to autistic disorder and described autism as pervasive lack of responsiveness to other people. The videos I'm watching, those people look like they're having a dang good time talking about this. This is not the way that things are now. Let's just continue. When the DSM-5 was published in 1994, that would have been about the time I was advocating for disabled people, Americans with Disabilities Act. In 1994, the number of possible diagnostic criteria had increased to 16, and 4 subcategories were listed under autistic disorder, Asperger's disorder, pervasive developmental disorder, NOS, not otherwise specified, Rett's disorder, and childhood disintegrative childhood disintegrative disorder. Asperger's became the best known, named after Hans Asperger, the Viennese pediatrician who first described autistic psychopathy in 1944. Asperger's was understood as high-functioning autism, associated with fictional characters like Spock on Star Trek. I was just talking about that in my last video. And The Big Bang Theory's Sheldon Cooper. Asperger's was diagnosis given to people with considerable skill, especially in technical, scientific, or musical fields, who nevertheless lacked social awareness and savvy. Rett's disorder and childhood disintegrative disorder were applied to children whose development was typical initially, but who lost significant skills and regressed towards autism early in life. I remember hearing about kids like that. I haven't heard that about autism in a long time, that they, they learn to walk and they learn to talk. And then when they're like, about 4 years old, they start regressing and they lose their skills. So is that not autism? I don't even know what autism is this day. I don't even know what words are proper to use these days, because this socialist movement, they are. I watched another video. I'll put in a little clip. They're all right in there with the all this equity, DEI stuff. And the people that truly are the disabled are the ones that they don't even know about this stuff. They probably don't even know what the word retard means, any of this. And the way that these new autistics talk about the parents of disabled children, they should be ashamed of themselves. Okay, so initially lost significant skills and regressed. PPD-NOS was a category reserved for children who did not meet all the criteria for autistic disorder and presented atypical symptoms profiles. Children with PPD may not have conformed to the age of onset required for autism, displayed or requisite numbers of behavioral symptoms common to children with the diagnosis. Mutism or speech impairments, repetitive behaviors and restricted interest, failure to engage with others or develop imaginative play, fixation on objects. Okay, 2013 DSM with the V. Is that the last one? Okay, that would be the 5. In 2013, when DSM-5 appeared, the diagnostic terminology changed yet again. All 4 subcategories were set under one new heading, Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD. This revision was intensely controversial. Well, I can imagine it was, for the people standing up for the people that are truly handicapped. Oh my God. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with those people. I'm saying that a serious impairment, autistic level 3. Have you people not watched Fathering Autism? Go watch some special books by special kids. Those are the people that these people are taking from, and it pisses me off. Oh my God. Okay. This revision, all 4 subcategories were swept under one new heading, Autism Spectrum Disorder, or ASD. This revision was intensely controversial. The removal of Asperger's generated particularly heated debate within psychiatric research and advocacy communities. Oh, hello. That's me, advocacy communities, where there was a disagreement about the need for greater precision in drawing diagnostic boundaries. Important questions were raised about whether eliminating previous diagnoses would result in the denial of needed services to many children and families. Autism spectrum disorder was a compromise. It offered the appearance of a more bounded syndrome while still allowing for enormous enormous internal variation. The official definition of ASD allowed autism with or without intellectual disability, with or without language impairment, and with severity levels ranging from requiring support to requiring very substantial support. Thanks to the psychiatric people that write the DSM, they knew exactly what they were doing. It's just more of their little soldiers for their army, the transgendered, and like earlier episodes in the history of autism as a diagnosis, autism spectrum disorder combined the quest for scientific rigor with purposeful vagueness. Autism's appearance and treatment in the DSM since 1952 illustrates that autism's rise to prominence had a great deal to do with the heightened awareness of the term. More expansive diagnosis criteria and greater willingness to label autistic children than in the past. Autism itself, whether it was one syndrome or many, remains elusive and uncertain. Exactly. Isn't it kind of interesting that the mental condition they're putting on people is one that has absolutely no test? They have their little checkbox test, but there's no genetics test. There's no blood test that's going to say how much autism anybody has. At this point, I'm thinking it was just some kind of a bullshit thing that they could put in there, And they could, anybody can be autistic, just like anybody can be a woman. This is wrong. This is not what the previous generations wanted to happen when we passed the Americans with Disabilities Act. We passed it for people that had true needs. I think it's wrong to put yourself in the same box as people with true disabilities. Like I say, I think there's something wrong with you. Maybe you guys can keep the autism diagnosis, and the truly special needs kids that had the old school autism, maybe they need a new word so that they can get some respect for their condition. So that's what happened. They changed what autism is. The people that voted in the ADA didn't. And with this socialism thing, I feel like they're erasing true disabled people. And the thing is after the disabled people are erased, then these the new autistic people, they're going to go, because I would think that, I just don't know. This stuff makes absolutely no sense to me. Why would our country want to convince so many people that they're mentally ill? I wonder if they have the same problem in Russia, China, Japan. I wonder what autistic is like over there. I'm probably going to look into it. Because I feel like the Western world is under attack. We are. And they're convincing people that they're mentally ill to get there. My God, you guys, open your eyes, live your own life. Everybody depends on doctors so much. Doctors are good. They help you in a life-saving situation, but I don't think the psychiatrists and psychologists are where it's at. I truly don't. If you're having problems, find somebody to talk to. Don't have a lot of friends? Make a video. That seems to be what a lot of people do. That's what I'm doing, because this stuff is so frustrating to me. All right.